Please welcome Herwig Konings, CEO of STM, presenting how RWA governance tokens will bridge crypto natives with tokenized assets. Herwig will explore how governance tokens can link crypto enthusiasts with tokenized real-world assets.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for everybody being here and tuning in. Let me just share the right screen here. We should be able to see these slides now. So yeah, we've heard a lot already, and I think many of us who are tuning in are pretty familiar with the concept now that, there is hundreds of trillions of assets and potential that could be put on chain. We've heard from some of the leading experts about how all of the biggest players in the space are tokenizing just about everything, right? Whether it's commodities or precious metals or stocks or funds. Stable coins, obviously, in themselves proving to be the RWA use case that everybody's kind of already familiar with. So we're going to go a little bit beyond asset tokenization into what I believe is a big trend for 2025. And actually, it's been a big trend this year already, but we're going to be talking about RWA governance tokens and how ultimately it actually unites crypto communities. And ultimately, this is a battle between decentralizing finance versus the current incumbents that sort of run the capital markets today, right? And so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Herwig. You can also call me Happy if that's easier. I'm the founder of STM. You can check it out at stm.co. We track all of the tokenized asset markets across the world, over $40 billion worth of different tokens across, real estate funds, stocks, everything, you name it. And we also do a lot of research. We have a weekly podcast called The Security Token Show, and we've been doing this for over 7 years. So we definitely are quite familiar with what's happening in the space. And that's actually why I'm excited to talk to you today also about the RWA Foundation, a new initiative we launched recently, which is what we're going to get to in a little bit. And actually, I want you all to meet Wally real quick. He is the foundation's mascot, if you will, our brand. The elephant in the room. And the reason we chose elephant as our mascot, and we really see this memification that's happening in culture, right? Not even just within, obviously, crypto and the success of meme coins, but also even the likes of Elon Musk taking a, government agency that's kind of scary because it's going to go out there and cut jobs and cut a lot of different things. That's by design what it is. He's memifying it, right? So we figured, all right, what is the animal that represents RWAs? And we think that is the elephant, right? They are huge in size and strength, and real world assets represent something that could be hundreds of times bigger than the current size of the crypto market, right? Just digital assets, altcoins and Bitcoin and Ethereum added up, right? But they're also wise creatures, and that's how we see, intelligence in terms of assets, right? We have real estate, we have, stocks, we have sort of smart assets behind RWAs, and last but not least, they represent community. They act as a herd and a family, and that's what's missing in the RWA ecosystem, we believe. And that's sort of what Wally knows, if you will, as a secret, okay? We think that, I think over the last 5 years, we've seen it where many people thought they could go to market and say, hey, we are going to tokenize a property, or we're going to tokenize a very cool precious metal or something else. And ultimately, they maybe failed or didn't have the success that they expected that we've seen with NFTs, with DeFi, with other, crypto projects. And that's because they really didn't understand their audience. They just assumed that, oh, if we tokenized, this cool RWA, people, specifically crypto natives, are going to want to buy it. And ultimately, the folks that have had the most success, they either focused on the crypto component, specifically creating an ecosystem and a governance token, which we're going to talk about, or they were able to convert traditional investors and said, hey, check out these benefits of leveraging tokenization versus just investing simply. But crypto natives today, they currently aren't the ones buying all of the RWAs in the market. And that's just the reality. So that's sort of what we're trying to address. Oh, excuse me. And that's actually what we've been recognizing what's happening, right? In terms of Wall Street, whether it's you look at JP Morgan Chase, you look at all the other big banks that are invested now in this space, whether it's the asset managers like BlackRock and Franklin Templeton with their trillions of dollars that already have economies of scale that sort of give them control over a lot of features and benefits in capital markets. And then if we think about Bitcoin and Satoshi's original vision and sort of even someone like Michael Saylor who went contrarian and said, we're going to put Bitcoin on our balance sheet because we see the price of currency going down from a treasury benefit. And now it's obviously benefited MicroStrategy very well. So, we kind of have this other side to it, which is keeping finance decentralized, right? And we're not just talking about Bitcoin decentralizing currency. We're talking about already now all of us acknowledging many of these CEOs publicly endorsing that tokenization is the future technology and operating system of capital markets. It makes obvious sense. It's just so much better than what we have today, which means today's incumbents are going to try to keep that control that they have over the current market. And of course, this is the antithesis to crypto and being able to keep things decentralized. And that's where we know that DeFi and crypto natives are excited about RWAs, and they're not dumb. They get this concept. They also recognize that this is happening. There are more exciting things happening within DeFi and within crypto to them that's shinier, let's say, than what's happening with tokenizing real estate and stocks and things like that. But what they do recognize is that, of course, assets on chain are better than dumb, shares on a spreadsheet. And ultimately that it will have a massive growth catalyst for DeFi, right? Where DeFi is now, at maybe $1 trillion, if that, in size, right? We are seeing that we're going to bring in tons of assets that can be used in lending protocols and DeFi protocols and applications that will benefit from not just new asset value being added and pumped into the ecosystem, but also from the smart asset backing we're talking about, right? With a piece of real estate, we have appraisals, we have real value, we also have yield coming in. These are all interesting mechanics to DeFi that they're going to embrace. And furthermore, as RWAs offer a diversification benefit, it enables crypto natives to stay on chain. This is very important because a lot of the time, they don't ever want to go off chain, right? They don't take an exit opportunity and say, hey, we're going to bring this back into fiat cash, only as little as possible to pay for rent and other things. So now with an option to diversify into different products that they might be familiar with, tokenized NVIDIA stock or tokenized, treasury funds that provide that stability and yield, that stable coin, give you that yield. So now is a way for them to stay on chain instantly, atomic swap, if you will, instantly settle into other products, and it'll allow them to stay mobile, stay on chain, move back into something else when they want to. I think that's why we've seen our stable coins be so successful to a degree. And finally, there is this concept that I was just referring to, right? That at the end of the day, this new operating system that we're going to settle all the world's shares and all the world's value of tokenized assets and RWAs, but also crypto assets. This is infrastructure that needs to remain decentralized in order to not be controlled by the same folks that control the markets today. And that's where we see the solution with the foundation. It's not really a secret. I mean, some of these are absolutely mind-blowing for those of you who don't know. And what this is RWA tokens, RWA infrastructure, governance tokens that have shot up into the top 100 tokens in the world, folks. Ondo launching with only within this year to over $1 billion market cap. Insane returns, nothing compared to a purpose-built blockchain called Mantra that has just been absolutely tearing it up. And what's most interesting to me beyond these returns is not just that, but it's the volume. There is over 300 million, close to 350, and that's just two of the many other RWA tokens that are also growing in popularity, that are not the assets on chain. They are not underlying equity. They don't offer you dividend rights. or anything like that into the infrastructure. They are governance tokens. And they're trading in the hundreds of millions of dollars per day, folks. That is something that, for those of us who have been in the RWA industry, would be dreaming of. I know T0 would love to see $164 million a day in volume on some of their listed stocks, right? Tokenized products. And so ultimately, that's where we know the market's going to get to for assets on chain, for tokenized real world assets, if you will. But it's going to take time. And this is already happening today. I took these yesterday, folks, to see exactly what's going on. So this is going to be a trend that keeps on happening. This is our way to decentralize RWA infrastructure. Mantra, Ondo have done very successfully. Realty is another example with their Reg token that's creating a model to enable their community to approve what gets tokenized, what gets approved, what fees, parameters of the ecosystem. These are what decentralizing the governance for RWA infrastructure looks like. But there's other models, right? We see the native token approach like Propi and Shintai that, with their checks token or Propi tokens, you can actually pay for services or use the token within the RWA platform itself, right? Which is a mechanic to create value around it. And then ultimately, just recently, RWA Inc. launched, and this is not a new concept in crypto, but instead of getting direct exposure to the equity or to the dividends or profit sharing, what they're going to do is not give it to you directly, but they're going to say, hey, we're going to use a percentage of our revenue to buy back tokens off the market and burn them, which means they remove them from the supply, therefore, in principle, creating upwards price pressure increase because there's now less supply of the same amount of demand, hopefully maybe more demand as they continue to buy and burn and share the revenue in that way, but not directly, indirectly through this token model. And so we're going to see this decentralization of infrastructure. I think many of the other leading brands that you see today who don't have one are evaluating and considering it right now. And I think is going to be hard to ignore in the future in terms of the potential if this becomes a sector within 2025. It keeps happening. Sorry. So if this becomes a sector in 2025, right, now we know that this is a trend that other RWA infrastructure will likely pursue. And that's what this comes down to at the root of, right? This is the original vision that Satoshi had. This is about decentralizing finance and capital markets so that we can self-custody all our own assets, that we can make money in real time through tokenized infrastructure, that we can use it for payments and for loans instantly without middlemen and without banks and the same folks that charge their rent-seeking fees today, that can ultimately be decentralized. And that's why we're excited about the RWA sector, about the RWA Foundation that we've developed. So this is a separate initiative from Security Token Market. We are operating, but we only released this last week. So we announced this at Benzinga's Future of Digital Assets. We've been working hard for quite a while before that to assemble the leading brands in RWAs, from the biggest marketplaces around the world to the biggest leading blockchains that support RWAs to the different infrastructure and investors and platforms across the board. Shout out to T0 from before, Alan and David, as well as founding members. And we are working on developing and launching education, resources, perks, many other benefits that will ultimately be through a DAO. So of course, we got to eat our own dog food. What I've been saying this whole time is that governance tokens and the crypto assets, that's how you speak to crypto natives. And that's what the RWA Foundation is for, to bridge crypto natives to RWAs and to decentralize capital markets infrastructure. And we're going to do that through these grants and partnerships to support innovation around the industry. We obviously will have our DAO, which will be having a lot of cool mechanics that you'll be able to see and learn about soon in our white paper. Of course, STM already does a lot of events, research and advocacy. Now we can really turn that up, but really tailor it towards crypto natives, right? And finally, we have a lot of working boards, groups, and programs and initiatives that we plan to bring to market with all of our amazing partners. You can imagine as a token holder, we're going to be releasing out a lot of different perks and benefits. So with our different partners, you might see these different kind of loyalty incentives and gamification to encourage activity within the RWA ecosystem. That might lead to some really, really, really cool benefits for being a member, not just to support the foundation and the industry, but also for being an RWA, investor and participant as a member. So join the first ever decentralized community for real world assets. It's the RWA Foundation at rwaf.xyz. We're also on Twitter at RWAFDAO. So please go give us a follow. Please go tune in. You'll be the first to hear about the white paper. And trust me, there will be many perks and benefits to being the first in many cases here, just like we see in many other crypto communities. So we'll be doing the same thing. Take a moment to scan that QR code to Telegram. Also on rwaf.xyz, we have our newsletter where you can go subscribe to also stay plugged in that way. So hopefully you're all as excited as I am about the RWA Foundation, about Wally, and what the RWA sector means for both crypto natives and, of course, the entire world for billions of people everywhere. We're very excited about it over here at STM and at the RWAF. So please come tune in. Please go tap in. Thank you, Augustine, for putting this together as always. Happy to be a participant. And, I wish everyone an early Happy New Year.